During the era when the Titans graced Azeroth, the Vale of Eternal Blossoms stood as a testament to Freya's creativity and experimentation with lifeforms. Much like Ungoro Crater and Sholazar Basin, the Vale was a nexus where the potent energies of the Well of Eternity had gathered. It was within these life cradles that the wild gods first emerged. In the heart of the Vale, Freya nurtured the sapling Fuzan. This tree, nurtured by the Vale's profound energy, flourished into a mighty giant. Around it, an entire forest sprang up, thriving both in the mystical Emerald Dream and the tangible world. These verdant expanses soon spread throughout the region, transforming the landscape into a lush paradise. As the Vale blossomed, the wild gods, revered by Pandaria citizens as the August Celestials, convened near this sacred place. Freya, recognizing their strength and potential, entrusted them with her staff, charging them with its protection. With this duty bestowed, she departed northward to confront a looming darkness, leaving the Vale and its guardians to flourish in her absence. Simultaneously battling the old gods with their insectoid minions, the Mantid, the Titans devised a formidable solution, the creation of the Mogu, guardians of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Tasked with repelling the relentless Mantid, the Mogu served diligently even after the Titans' victory over the old gods and their subsequent silence. However, the curse of flesh soon spread across the land, transforming the mighty Mogu. Confusion and chaos ensued as the once unified guardians splintered into warring clans. Amidst the turmoil, a powerful leader emerged, Lei Shen, the Thunder King. Uniting the fractured Mogu under his command, Lei Shen embarked on a grand vision of dominion. With ruthless determination, Lei Shen and his Mogu subjugated the denizens of Pandaria, compelling them to construct the Great Wall. This monumental barrier served a dual purpose: to shield Lei Shen's burgeoning empire from the persistent threat of the Mantid, and to fortify the protection of the cherished Vale. Through sheer force and iron will, Lei Shen transformed the chaotic lands into a formidable bastion, securing both his rule and the sanctity of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Now we have to mention the Jinyu. The origins of the Jinyu trace back to the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, where their ancestors, the humble Murlocs, thrived near the Vale's enchanted pools. The magical waters transformed these Murlocs, enhancing their intellect and enlarging their bodies, eventually rising to one of Pandaria's great ancient cultures. In the era following the Titans' departure, but before the ascendancy of Lei Shen, the Jinyu established a mighty empire, ruling over Pandaria from their stronghold in the Vale. This golden age, however, was not to last. When Lei Shen came to power, he launched a brutal campaign against the Jinyu. The Mogu invaded their kingdoms, mercilessly slaughtering those who resisted. Through this fierce conquest, Lei Shen seized control of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, marking the end of the Jinyu's dominance and the beginning of a new era under Mogu rule. After the Pandaren successfully overthrew the Mogu, the capital shifted eastward to the Jade Forest. The gates of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms were sealed, granting entry only to a select few, the Golden Lotus, a dedicated group of caretakers. These guardians, with occasional assistance from the Shadowpan, preserved the Vale's pristine beauty and safeguarded its secrets. With its gates closed, the Vale became a near mythical place in Pandaren culture. Its majestic waterfalls, the snow-capped peaks, and exquisite architecture inspired countless legends, myths, and poems, including the renowned Song of the Vale. There is a valley where dreamers sleep, where flowers bloom and willows weep, where loamy earth springs life anew, and waters sparkle clear and blue, where every hearth brings peaceful ease, and beauty sings on every breeze. Here the sacred pools spring pure, here seek any who desire cure. Holy nature powers divine, turn death to life, death to life. In the days leading up to the Great Sundering, Emperor Xiaohao journeyed to the Vale, having shed his burdens. It was here that he merged with the land to protect Pandaria from the Cataclysm. According to legend, the moment Xiaohao entered the Vale, every tree burst into bloom, a spectacle that continued to enchant the Vale for millennia. In recent days, the Golden Lotus have grown increasingly alarmed, having spotted Mogu scouts infiltrating the Vale despite the sealed gates. Desperate for reinforcements, they once again call upon the Shadowpan for aid, and perhaps welcome new adventurers, should they prove worthy of such a privilege. Adventurers who lend their support to the Golden Lotus will soon uncover that the Mogu's presence is far more sinister than mere scouting. Sin the Weapon Master has rallied several Mogu clans under his banner at Mogu'shan Palace, while the Shao Tian to the west have launched a full-scale assault on the Vale. Their plans are part of a grander scheme tied to the resurrection of the dreaded Thunder King, the ancient master of all Mogu. The Golden Lotus received a prophecy that a child within the Vale was destined to join their order. However, despite testing numerous Pandaran children at the shrine, they were unable to identify the chosen one. It was then that Chi-Ji appeared and revealed that one of Dezko's sons was destined to serve the Vale. Unwilling to part with either of his children, Dezko decided to leave the Vale and secretly return to Mulgore. As he prepared to depart, he was intercepted by Mokimo the Strong, Wang the Merciful, and Rook, who chose to protect him until he was safely away. However, their group was ambushed by the Shao Tian Mogu. In the ensuing battle, only one of Dezko's sons survived. Though Dezko is now free to return to Mulgore, he made the heart-wrenching decision to entrust his surviving son Redhorn to Mokimo. Redhorn would fulfill the prophecy and serve the Vale and the Golden Lotus, honoring the destiny foretold by Chi-Ji. After the resurrection of the Thunder King, Lei Shen commanded the Zandalari to begin reviving his ancient generals. Upon learning of this, Vol'jin, Tirithane Court, and their Shadowpan allies launched a mission to prevent the revival of Warlord Cao. Despite their efforts, they were captured. Brother Dao and Brother Shan were used as sacrifices, leading to the rebirth of Warlord Cao. In the ensuing chaos, the quick actions of Vol'jin and Kalak saved the lives of Chen Stormstout and Brother Kyo from the wrath of the Mogu. Frustrated but undeterred, Warlord Cao ordered the Zandalari to escort him back to his master. The group departed for the Isle of Thunder, leaving their would-be rescuers to plot their next move. The desecration of the Vale by the Horde's excavation, culminating in Garrosh unearthing the heart of Yasharaj, awakened the final Shah Prime, the Shah of Pride. This unleashed a devastating wave of corruption, ravaging the once pristine landscape and setting loose the Lesser Shah. Mogu'shan Palace and its guardian statues were also severely damaged. The Eternal Blossoms, which once symbolized the Vale's enduring beauty, began to wither and die, despite legends claiming they would never wilt. The Shah energies twisted the sacred water pools into a monstrous elemental horror known as Immersius. In response to this devastation, the August Celestials vowed to unite in restoring the Vale. A purified tree, a gift from Emperor Xiaohao, was planted as a symbol of renewal. By the time of the Iron Horde's invasion of Azeroth, the Vale had been cleansed, thanks to the tireless efforts of the Golden Lotus. This rejuvenation marked a new chapter for the Vale, as it slowly regained its former splendor. Now visibly restored, the Vale of Eternal Blossoms has become the stronghold of Keeper Ra and his loyal Mogu faction, the Rajani. With the release of N'Zoth from his ancient prison, the Vale faced new threats as the forces of the Old God launched relentless attacks. Amidst the ensuing chaos, opportunistic Mogu sought to seize the Vale for themselves. In this time of turmoil, Ra and the Rajani joined forces with the Golden Lotus, working tirelessly to defend the sacred land from these converging threats. Their combined efforts aimed to preserve the Vale's newfound beauty and ensure its safety against those who would see it corrupted once more. Now we head over to Big Blossom Excavation, which is a bustling mining operation run by the Bilgewater Cartel, nestled in the southern half of the Summer Fields, strategically positioned between the Golden Pagoda and the Shrine of Seven Stars. Initiated under the command of Garrosh Hellscream, this excavation grants direct access to the extensive Big Blossom mine. In their fervor to establish the dig site, the goblins inadvertently destroyed the sacred pool that once graced this location, leaving a scar on the land's revered heritage. When the Mogu invaded the Vale, the Golden Pagoda became a crucial gathering point for the Golden Lotus, where they enlisted members from both the Horde and the Alliance to aid their cause. Key members such as Levin Dawnblade, Rook Stonetoe, Sun Tenderheart, and Kun and Anji Autumnlight were stationed there. However, the awakening of the Shah Pride by Garrosh Hellscream unleashed a destructive feedback that obliterated the Golden Pagoda and its surroundings, claiming the lives of many residents. In the aftermath, all Golden Lotus quests were relocated to the Setting Sun Garrison on the western side of the zone. The once sacred area became a desecrated crater, now haunted by the lingering Shah. Following the restoration of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, the Golden Pagoda was also rebuilt, symbolizing a new beginning amidst the rejuvenated landscape. The ruins of Guo-lai are the remnants of an ancient Mogu city located in the northwest of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Among these ruins lie the well-preserved Guo-lai halls, a labyrinth filled with countless secrets. The ruins are overrun by spiders and animated Mogu statues, some of which still possess a semblance of life. At the edge of these ruins, the Golden Lotus has established a camp that serves as a resting spot and quest hub. Golden Lotus defenders vigilantly protect this small outpost. Following their expulsion from the Golden Stair, the Mogu have reclaimed these ruins, fortifying them against the encroaching Shah. Most of the spiders have been eradicated, and the Pandaren presence has diminished, leaving the ruins a contested ground between the Mogu and the lingering Shah. The ruins rise as a prominent bluff overlooking the ruins of Guo-lai in the northwest Vale of Eternal Blossoms. The Mogu have been utilizing a hidden passage emerging at this rise as their clandestine entry point into the Vale. However, this cavern is swiftly sealed whenever it is discovered by others. In the interim, mischievous sprites have taken over the area, commandeering any supplies left behind and pilfering more from the nearby Golden Lotus camp. Recently, the Mogu have managed to reopen the cavern, driving out the sprites and re-establishing their control over the bluff. The Seat of Knowledge, perched over the entrance to Mogu'shan Palace in the northeast corner of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, serves as the headquarters for the Lorewalkers faction, including the esteemed Lorewalker Cho. It comes as no surprise that Bran Bronzebeard found his way to this repository of ancient wisdom and decided to establish himself as an archaeology trainer, collaborating closely with the Lorewalkers to share his wealth of knowledge. On the right side of the Seat of Knowledge, various tables and display stands are meticulously arranged. Archaeologist adventurers might occasionally stumble upon pristine specimens of Pandaren, Mogu, or Mantid artifacts, which make ideal donations for permanent display. Additionally, scrolls related to exploration achievements have their tome counterparts housed here. During the assault on the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, Aki the Chosen relocates to the Seat of Knowledge, seeking refuge and contributing to the preservation and study of the region's rich history. The Shrine of Seven Stars and the Shrine of Two Moons, which are the Horde and Alliance bases within Pandaria, are each an ancient Mogu structure. The Alliance base, the Shrine of the Seven Stars, is nestled south of Mogu'shan Palace in the eastern part of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, a departure from previous expansions where sanctuary cities served both factions. The Horde's equivalent stronghold is the Shrine of Two Moons, situated on the opposite side of Mogu'shan Palace. In the twisted reality of the Vale of Eternal Night, which is a dark manifestation of N'Zoth's corrupted vision for the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, the Shrine of Seven Stars stands as the last unconquered bastion. Meanwhile, the Shrine of Two Moons has succumbed to the might of the Black Empire. Whitepetal Lake stands as one of the region's largest lakes. Fed by mountain springs from the south near Mistfall Village, its tranquil shores are graced by an ancient temple on the eastern bank. Originally teeming with diverse fish species like frenzies and crocodiles, Whitepetal Lake fell victim to the destructive aftermath of the Shah Pride. The feedback from this malevolent force not only obliterated the lake's water source, but swiftly drained its once vibrant waters. The surrounding lands and creatures suffered under the shadow of corruption that spread throughout the area. The summer fields stretch across the east side of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, nestled between the Golden Pagoda, Shrine of Two Moons, Mogu'shan Palace, and the Shrine of Seven Stars. Later on, the Bilgewater Goblins, under orders from Garrosh Hellscream, began excavating the southwestern corner of the fields in search of greater power, resulting in the creation of the Big Blossom Excavation. This action drew the ire of Terran Zu of the Shadowpan, leaving Sunwalker Dezco to mediate and explain the situation. The catastrophic feedback from the summoning of the Shah Pride obliterated the summer fields and its surroundings. Manifestations of pride surged through the area, corrupting any remaining wildlife. Quid, a displaced water spirit from Mistfall Village, found refuge in the remnants of the pond. However, by the time of the Fourth War, the Vale had healed, and the summer fields had been restored to their former glory. Amidst the chaos of the assault on the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, Magni Bronzebeard and a brave adventurer heeded the counsel of Ra-Den adventured into the palace. Their mission is to activate the ancient engine of Nalak Shah. Inside, they found the halls eerily abandoned by the Mogu, except for scattered terracotta warriors, cunning traps, and Sarok prisoners lurking in the labyrinth of tunnels below. Following one such tunnel, the duo discovered a passage that led deep into the heart of Mogu'shan vaults, where untold mysteries and dangers awaited. The first encounter of the dungeon is the Trial of the King, where Ming the Cunning, Kuai the Brute, and Haiyan the Unstoppable have led their respective clans to the palace, each determined to showcase their prowess and loyalty to their king. However, within the hollowed halls of the palace, old rivalries between these Mogu factions simmer dangerously close to boiling over. The air crackles with tension as violence looms on the horizon, threatening to spill over unless these bickering clans can find a way to settle their disputes and prove their mettle without resorting to outright conflict. Following the Trial of the King, you run into Gekken. Amidst the power struggles of Mogu clans vying for dominance, the cunning Gekken emerges as a formidable leader of his Sarok raiding party, daringly breaching the legendary treasure caches hidden within the place's network of corridors. Sarok are not known for their loyalty, yet Gekken's unwavering courage and strategic brilliance instill a rare sense of honor among his warriors. They follow him not just for plunder, but for the thrill of conquest under a leader who commands respect and admiration. Now the final challenge of the dungeon is Shin the Weapon Master. In Azeroth, the title of Weapon Master varies in meaning among its diverse inhabitants. For Shin, it signifies an unparalleled mastery over Mogu weaponry, which responds to his every command. The king eagerly showcases his lethal prowess to anyone who dares to challenge his dominion over Pandaria, leaving no doubt about his rightful claim to rule. For generations, the formidable serpent spine has stood as a bulwark, shielding the people of Pandaria from the relentless assaults of rampaging insect-like mantid. This savage race, known for their recurring aggression, has launched their invasion earlier than anticipated, catching the wall's defenders unprepared. As the most fearsome mantid warriors storm the battle-worn gates, Pandaria faces the challenge of repelling the most devastating army in its recorded history. The Mantid are seasoned warriors, adept at using advanced technology to sway the tide of battle. The Pandaren, despite their resilience, find themselves outmatched by explosives experts like Kiptalak. These deadly tacticians strike deep behind enemy lines, posing a dire threat to the already crumbling fortifications from within. Kiptalak's expertise in sabotage and demolition leave the Pandaren defenses teetering on the brink of collapse, illustrating the Mantid's relentless and strategic prowess in warfare. The Strikers form the aerial elite of the Mantid Empire's formidable army. Among their ranks soars Gadok, a seasoned ace whose prowess in aerial combat is legendary. With the ability to unleash fiery devastation upon countless foes, Gadok and his minions rain death from above. Targeting the defenders at the gates, their relentless assaults from the skies leave the Pandaren forces in constant peril, showcasing the terrifying might of the Mantid's airborne warriors. Commander Rymok leads the Mantid ground forces with an iron fist, relentlessly assaulting the towering gates. Dismissive of the defenders' efforts, Rymok summons endless reinforcements to crush anyone daring enough to oppose him. His unwavering resolve and strategic brilliance make him a formidable adversary, determined to obliterate all who stand in his path. Now leading the charge against the gates is the colossal Mantid Raygon. Serving as a living battering ram, Raygon relentlessly pounds the Pandaren defenses, determined to obliterate any and all obstacles that stand in the way of the Mantid's ruthless invasion of Pandaria. His sheer force and unwavering assault leave destruction in his wake, embodying the merciless fury of the Mantid onslaught. Garrosh Hellscream's arrogance has ignited a firestorm of conflict, culminating in the devastation of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Now, the leaders of both the Alliance and the Horde unite in a desperate siege against Hellscream's stronghold, determined to overthrow the ruthless war chief once and for all. The battle for justice and retribution has reached its zenith, as the combined forces strive to end Hellscream's tyrannical reign. The first boss you encounter is Immersius. The ancient citizens of Pandaria understood the critical importance of the life-giving pools of power. To protect these sacred waters and sustain life in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, they constructed an elaborate underground system of aqueducts. However, the touch of corruption has perverted these waters, giving rise to Immersius, an unnatural embodiment of the Vale's sorrow and despair. Following Immersius, we take on the Fallen Protectors. The Golden Lotus and Shadowpan Guardians of the Vale of Eternal Blossoms found themselves at ground zero of the catastrophic blast that ravaged the Vale. Shattered by the dark energies, their spirits now haunt the sacred grounds they once diligently protected. These restless souls, tormented by their perceived failure, linger in a state of confusion and sorrow, forever bound to the site of their ultimate sacrifice. A Titanic watcher named Mogu'shan diligently guarded the heart of the old god Y'Shaarj beneath the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. When the containment around the heart was breached, Mogu'shan aided adventurers by bestowing powerful buffs to assist them. After Garrosh Hellscream seized the heart and corrupted the Vale, Mogu'shan set a new challenge for the adventurers: to purify their pride corruption before facing the Shaw of Pride in the depths of the Titan containment chamber. During the ensuing battle, Mogu'shan was slain by the Shaw, but in his final act, used his remaining strength to cleanse the corruption from all the adventurers present. It is whispered that the Mogu race was crafted in Mogu'shan's image, a testament to his enduring legacy. When Emperor Xiaohao purged his negative emotions with the assistance of the Monkey King and the August Celestials, he imprisoned the Shaw Primes beneath the ground. However, he retained one vice: the Shaw of Pride. Xiaohao's pride shrouded Pandaria in mists, believing they were superior to the rest of the world and capable of solving their own problems. For 10,000 years, this isolation led to stagnation, with buried doubts and fears occasionally surfacing to fester. Thus, the Shaw of Pride emerged as the most insidious and dangerous of all the Shaw, more treacherous than any of its counterparts. The aftermath of the Shaw of Pride's wrath has left a deep, malignant scar of Shaw energy stretching from the summer fields to Mogu'shan Palace. This devastating force obliterated the Golden Pagoda and drained the waters of Whitepetal Lake. Even the Emperor's approach did not escape unscathed, bearing the marks of the Shaw's destructive influence. Now we move on to Galakros. Warlord Zayla forged a strong alliance with Garrosh Hellscream during the tumultuous events in the Twilight Highlands. Alongside her Dragon Maw orcs, she has sworn unwavering loyalty to Garrosh's cause, commanding the fearsome Galakros, a direct descendant of the progenitor of all dragonkind, Galakrond. Zayla now oversees the naval defenses of Orgrimmar, a formidable presence ready to crush any opposition. The Iron Juggernaut is a mechanical monstrosity engineered as much for intimidation as for sheer destruction. It stands as the crowning jewel of Garrosh's siege arsenal. Modeled after the formidable Gorkron War Scorpion, the Iron Juggernaut fiercely guards the gates of Orgrimmar, obliterating any who dare to oppose Garrosh's true horde. Next we face the Dark Shamans. Haram and Kardris once trained thousands of shamans to respectfully commune with the elements, seeking their aid through reverent whispers. In stark contrast, Garrosh's army demands, taking what they desire by force in the name of the true horde. This dark shamanism enslaves the elements, corrupting them into burned-out ash, tainted waters, and poisonous air, perverting their natural essence into tools of destruction. Nazgrim's journey began as one of the many orcs imprisoned in Alliance internment camps, only to be liberated by the Horde. After his release, he enlisted in the army and rose through the ranks. By the time of the war against the Lich King, Nazgrim had achieved the rank of sergeant and was stationed at Conquest Hold. It was here that he first encountered an adventurer through their interactions with Conqueror Krenna. Nazgrim, wary of Krenna's volatile temper and aggressive focus on attacking the Alliance, instead dedicated himself to confronting local threats, primarily the Vrykul. He maintained his rank after Krenna was overthrown by her more moderate sister, Gorgana. During his time in Northrend, Nazgrim fought valiantly against the Scourge, slaying many of the undead. The sight in their empty, lifeless gazes before they fell left a lasting impression on him, a grim reminder of the horrors he faced in battle. After the Northrend campaign, Nazgrim was promoted to Legionnaire. Under the command of the new war chief Garrosh Hellscream, Nazgrim led Hellscream's vanguard alongside an adventurer on a critical mission. Their goal was to seize a strategically vital island from which the Horde could launch an assault on Stormwind City. Nazgrim, eager to demonstrate the might of the Horde and to unite its people under a single banner, approached this mission with fervor. His determination to showcase the Horde's strength and his loyalty to Garrosh drove him to take on this pivotal task, marking another significant chapter in his storied military career. He embarked on a mercenary ship bound for distant seas, but the voyage was abruptly interrupted by a Naga attack. Despite his efforts to fend off the serpentine foes, he was thrown overboard, and the ship met its demise to the tentacles of the Great Kraken, Azumet. Nazgrim survived the ordeal thanks to the intervention of Aranak's Stonespeaker, and quickly reunited with the adventurer and other survivors. The group found themselves in the treacherous waters of Vashir, a region besieged by Naga conflicts and oppression. As they tried to fend off a Naga assault, they were captured and taken to Nespera, a Naga stronghold, where they were enslaved. However, the adventurer and Aranak managed to escape and later freed Nazgrim from his grim predicament, allowing him to continue his relentless fight against the Naga threat. Nazgrim and the remaining Horde survivors regrouped in a cave known as Legion's Rest. With their original mission in tatters due to their current predicament, the Legionnaires set about devising an escape plan. Following further skirmishes with the Naga, Nazgrim managed to send up an escape flare, prompting Horde ships to come to their aid. He relocated aboard the Stygian Bounty, taking a brief respite before plunging back into action. The goblins from Bilgewater Harbor provided a submarine, the Vern, which Nazgrim used to return beneath the waves. His aim was clear: to locate and confront the beast that had derailed his mission, restoring his path to victory for the Horde. Nazgrim joined the adventurer, Aranak, and the crew of the Vern to confront the full might of the Naga beneath the ocean's surface. Recognizing the peril facing the entire realm, Nazgrim ordered the submarine to land and charge into battle against the Naga and their Enraki allies. After a fierce struggle, he witnessed Azumet the Kraken crash into Neptulin the Tidehunter before fleeing the scene. Mistaking this as a victory, the Naga retreated, taking a captured Aranak with them. Determined to rescue Aranak, Nazgrim remained behind, launching a daring mission to the Throne of the Tides. There, he and the adventurer confronted and defeated the Naga Sea Witch, Lady Nazjar. After their triumph, Nazgrim congratulated the adventurer, coming to see them as both a friend and a comrade. During the Alliance and Horde War in Pandaria, Nazgrim had risen to the rank of general and appeared in the initial Horde side cutscene. He reported significant naval victories off the coast of Tolbarad and Tanarus to Garrosh Hellscream. He also informed Garrosh of a strange uncharted land discovered during a skirmish with an Alliance vessel. Infuriated that the Alliance had arrived first, Garrosh scolded Nazgrim and promptly dispatched him, along with an elite forward party, including Shademaster Kirin, Rivet Clutchpop, Sergeant Gorok, Shokia, and an adventurer to secure this new continent and engage the Alliance forces there. As the Horde prepared to land in the Jade Forest, Nazgrim commanded their descent from an airship. However, the vessel was shot down, leaving the Horde forces to fend for themselves. Among the first to encounter the native Pandaren, Nazgrim was met with a frosty reception for bringing war to their peaceful homeland. Despite their initial wariness, the Pandaren provided the Horde with crucial information about the insidious nature of the Shah, and some even chose to ally with the Horde, offering sanctuary. During his stay, Nazgrim took the stranded Prince Anduin into custody, recognizing him as the Crown Prince of Stormwind and holding him as a prisoner of war. However, Anduin eventually managed to escape, slipping through Nazgrim's fingers. Nazgrim set about enlisting the local forest Hosen to aid the Horde war effort, though he met with mixed success. Despite their numbers, their volatile nature gave him cause for concern. With time and effort, he managed to shape them into a passable fighting force and soon found himself facing Admiral Taylor and his recruited Pearlfin Jinyu. As their forces clashed, the nearby Serpent's Heart erupted in a torrent of Shah energy, shattering both the Horde and Alliance contingents. Nazgrim and his entourage narrowly survived the violent outburst, suffering heavy wounds. Alongside Taylor and the surviving Alliance members, they retreated to Bainan village to recuperate from the ordeal. Nazgrim awoke to find himself sharing a room with Admiral Taylor, both heavily wounded from the recent battle. Tensions flared and the two nearly came to blows. With the adventurer's help, Nazgrim regained his strength and established a Horde camp named Eastwind Rest in Guo-lai Summit. Frustrated by the unpredictable nature of the Hosen, Nazgrim became convinced that the Pandaren would be far superior allies. Determined to win them over, he set out to demonstrate the benefits of aligning with the Horde rather than the Alliance, seeking to sway the Pandaren to their cause. Nazgrim and the remnants of his vanguard rejoined the main Horde forces upon their arrival in Pandaria, taking up positions at the newly constructed Domination Point. During the Domination Point scenario, the base camp came under attack by the Alliance's formidable 7th Legion. Despite the intense assault, Nazgrim, his vanguard team, Warlord Bloodhilt, and Horde adventurers stood their ground and successfully repelled the Alliance invasion, securing their foothold in Pandaria. At Domination Point, Nazgrim served as the main quest giver, though he often found himself entangled in the web of Horde politics. As adventurers earned their reputation at the base, Nazgrim assigned them various missions from Horde High Command and Garrosh Hellscream himself. The storyline took a tense turn when Garrosh's blatant disregard for Blood Elven lives strained relations with Lorthamar Theron, the Regent Lord of Quel'Thalas. This tension escalated to the point where Lorthamar considered withdrawing his people from the Horde entirely, a prospect that left Nazgrim deeply and vocally concerned. Nazgrim was also privy to the Sunreaver plot to steal the Divine Bell. He instructed the adventurer to use a Sunreaver mage's portal to venture into Darnassus and retrieve the artifact. When Jaina Proudmoore discovered the Sunreaver's involvement in the theft, Nazgrim urgently dispatched the adventurer to rendezvous with Grand Magister Romoth. Together they orchestrated the evacuation of the Sunreavers from Darnassus, amid the chaos of the Purge of Dalaran. Nazgrim concluded the Domination Point saga by delivering a summons from Garrosh to the adventurer. However, he was notably absent for the critical events that followed. He did not witness Garrosh's use of the Divine Bell to infuse his soldiers with the dark power of the Shah, nor was he present for the Bell's ultimate destruction. The absence marked a significant turning point, as Nazgrim remained unaware of the depths of Garrosh's ambition and the catastrophic consequences that unfolded. Summoned by Garrosh to quell the growing Darkspear rebellion, Nazgrim was stationed at the Dranashar blockade. There, he commanded the Gorkron to fortify the defenses of Bladefist Bay in anticipation of a potential assault by Alliance naval forces. His presence and strategic oversight were critical in preparing for the looming threat, as tensions continued to escalate on all fronts. As the siege loomed, Nazgrim was approached by former War Chief Thrall and High Overlord Sourfang on the outskirts of Orgrimmar. They sought an audience with Garrosh in a last-ditch effort to end the war. Although initially barred entry by the Gorkron, Nazgrim ordered his men to stand down and allowed the pair to enter the city, though he warned that Garrosh might not be receptive to their pleas at this critical juncture. Tasked with defending the main entrance to Orgrimmar, Nazgrim took his position on the battlements. There he confronted Vol'jin and Bane Bloodhoof, urging them to abandon their rebellion. He warned them that their efforts were futile, and assured them that they couldn't prevail if they persisted in their fight against Garrosh's forces. In a desperate bid to quell the rebellion, Nazgrim dispatched his formidable iron juggernaut. However, the mechanical behemoth was ultimately defeated and destroyed. As Tyrande Whisperwind and her sentinels breached the city's gates, Nazgrim and his remaining Gorkron brigade retreated to defend the entrance to the Underhold. Fiercely loyal to the Horde and unwavering in his commitment to honor and duty, Nazgrim held the line for his war chief until his final breath. His steadfast defense epitomized his dedication, making his last stand a poignant testament to his unwavering resolve. Nazgrim's body was retrieved and laid to rest in a graveyard in Durotar, not far from the gates of Orgrimmar. However, at the behest of the Lich King, Nazgrim is resurrected as the first new member of the Four Horsemen of the Knights of the Ebon Blade. Upon his revival, Nazgrim became aware of the Iron Horde and the return of the Burning Legion. He saw these events as repercussions of Garrosh Hellscream's pride and his own unwavering loyalty. These thoughts nagged at him, though he tried to push them aside. Resolute in his new purpose, Nazgrim accompanied the Deathlord, defending them while they revived the remaining horsemen, thus embracing his role in the ongoing struggle against the looming threats in Azeroth. At Stromgarde Keep, when the fallen prince Galen Trollbane arrogantly called for their champion, Nazgrim curtly instructed him to watch his tone. After clearing the courtyard of witherbark trolls, Galen expressed his thanks, but declared his kingdom was his alone. Nazgrim perceived this as treachery and responded by asphyxiating Stromgarde soldiers outside the keep while the Deathlord hunted down the prince. In the court of the Scarlet Monastery, Nazgrim once again used his Strangulate ability, this time against the Scarlet Crusade. Following the failed attempt to retrieve the body of High Lord Tyrion Fordring from beneath Light's Hope Chapel in the Sanctum of Light, Darion Mograin's sacrifice was not in vain. Nazgrim urged the Deathlord to act quickly to save Mograine before it was too late. Under Bolvar's command, the four horsemen were tasked with acquiring fallen champions from both the Alliance and Horde. Nazgrim took on the grim duty of collecting bodies from the Battle of Dazar Alor and other Horde territories. He stood witness to the overthrow of Sylvanas Windrunner by the Horde, feeling a deep urge to assist but was forbidden by Bolvar. Believing that Bolvar had succumbed to the powers of the Lich King, Darion attempted to kill him. However, Bolvar took control of Darion's body, forcing him to return to Acheris the Ebon Hold while taunting him about needing the four horsemen. Though suspicious of a trap and sensing something amiss, Nazgrim agreed to join his fellow horsemen in their mission to kill the Lich King and decide who would wield the Helm of Domination after Bolvar's defeat. En route to Icecrown Citadel, the four horsemen used their connection to the Lich King and discovered him locked in combat with Sylvanas Windrunner. They realized that Bolvar's gambit was to have the horsemen arrive and kill the victor of the conflict. Nazgrim and the others were stunned when Sylvanas emerged victorious and destroyed the Helm of Domination instead of claiming it. With the Scourge now uncontrollable, Darion ordered Nazgrim and Sally Whitemane to rescue Bolvar, while he and Thoris Trollbane fought to maintain control over Acheris. After the Helm of Domination was shattered and the Scourge began their rampage across Azeroth, Nazgrim and Whitemane transported the wounded Bolvar Fordragon to Acheris the Ebon Hold. In the aftermath of the Scourge's return, Nazgrim assumed the role of the Ebon Blade's emissary to the Horde. During the assault on the Sanctum of Domination, Nazgrim alongside the other horsemen supported Bolvar and the heroes of Azeroth. They facilitated the attack by creating death gates throughout the fortress, enabling swift movement throughout its various levels and aiding in the fight against the forces within. He attended the first Koshark festival on Azeroth held in Razor Hill, Durotar, where he reflects on how long it had been since he last spoke to many of his fellow orcs. During the festival, he joined the Warsong clan and shared his uncertainty about whether he would be welcomed among the living. Chieftain Gorgana, however, reassured him, declaring that in her eyes, he had died with honor, and continued to serve with honor even in undeath. Once a staunch member of the Blackrock clan under Rend Blackhand, Malkaruk renounced his former war chief to pledge unwavering allegiance to Garrosh Hellscream. He quickly proved to be as radical as Garrosh, if not more so, a trait likely retained from his days in the Dark Horde. He believed that anyone who questioned Garrosh's authority deserved execution. During a pivotal gathering of the Horde leaders to discuss Garrosh's plans for Kalimdor, Malkaruk took center stage, opening the meeting. When Bane Bloodhoof expressed his discontent with Garrosh's proposed attack on Theramore, Malkaruk moved to confront him, only to be ordered to stand down by Garrosh himself. He was also present during a private meeting between Garrosh and Lor'themar Theron. Although Garrosh praised Lor'themar for his loyalty to the Horde's warchief, he grew suspicious when Lor'themar's declaration of loyalty seemed directed at the Horde rather than Garrosh personally. Garrosh instructed Malkaruk to keep an eye on Lor'themar, to which Malkaruk ominously replied that they should monitor everyone, not just the leaders, but the entire Horde. Sometime later, Malkaruk and a group of Kor'kron soldiers stormed into Kor'just's shop, intent on punishing him for merely disagreeing with War Chief Hellscream's plans. When Kor'just claimed his shop was closed, Malkaruk coldly replied that they weren't there for supplies, they were there for him. He was then taken into custody, brutally beaten, and eventually returned to his shop. Malkaruk's abductions became an unspoken truth in Orgrimmar, serving as a dark warning to those who dared to voice dissent. When the time came for the assault on Northwatch Hold, Malkaruk personally accompanied Garrosh to Ratchet and participated in the stronghold's destruction. While many were horrified by the Horde's use of molten giants, Malkaruk saw no issue with it. When Bane Bloodhoof, having learned from Cador Cloudsong that the Molten Giants were enslaved, confronted Garrosh about these tactics, Malkaruk immediately intervened, challenging Bane to a Mat Gara for constantly questioning Garrosh's actions and not showing the respect he believed was deserved. Privately, Malkaruk thought the Tauren were too soft and even considered Cairn Bloodhoof's death beneficial, regardless of the circumstances. He was disappointed when Bane refused his challenge, missing the chance to prove his loyalty and ruthlessness in the eyes of the Horde. Following the destruction of Northwatch, Garrosh chose to keep the Horde army in place rather than marching directly to Theramore, much to the frustration of many within the ranks. As members of the Horde gathered to discuss Garrosh's unexpected decision, one of them tipped off Hellscream about the meeting. When Bane clarified that they were merely questioning the reason behind Garrosh's choices and not plotting against him, Malkaruk coolly retorted that questioning the war chief was tantamount to questioning the Horde itself. Irritated by the overt displays of discontentment among the ranks, Malkaruk later grumbled privately to Garrosh that he should have been allowed to kill or punish a few dissenters. Garrosh dismissed his concerns, stating that fear would keep the soldiers in check, as they were still valuable to the Horde. Vol'jin and Bane were granted an audience with Garrosh, noticing Malkaruk's presence during their meeting. The conversation remained polite until Bane voiced his concern and questioned why Garrosh seemed only to heed the advice of the Blackrock Orc. After instructing Malkaruk to stand down, Garrosh mentioned he had orders for the fleet. Bane and Vol'jin, feeling hopeful that Garrosh might finally be initiating an attack on Theramore or sharing a strategy, were stunned when Garrosh's order was for the fleet to withdraw. As they left to carry out his command, Bane expressed his hope that the Horde would survive this debacle. Their departure was accompanied by the sound of loud laughter from both Garrosh and Malkaruk, echoing through the hall. When Hellscream finally ordered the army to march upon Theramore, they were ambushed by the Blue Dragon Caligos before attacking the Alliance forces at Fort Triumph. After the fall of Fort Triumph, the Horde forces advanced to Theramore Isle itself. Malkaruk was tasked with leading the assault on the West Gate. However, as they marched towards their target, Malkaruk's forces were ambushed by Alliance troops led by Pain. Engaging in a fierce battle with Pain, Malkaruk was infuriated when the Alliance forces retreated, frustrated that he had been caught off guard and had failed to kill the Night Elf. Malkaruk was privy to Garrosh's secret weapon, a tailor-made mana bomb enhanced by the stolen focusing iris. He watched as the bomb was dropped over Theramore, cackling in triumph as the city and its defenders were obliterated in a single devastating blast. The sight of Theramore's annihilation brought him a twisted sense of elation, as the power of the Horde was brutally demonstrated. Following the successful campaign, the army journeyed back to Durotar, where it experienced a division. Those who approved of the mana bomb's use headed to Orgrimmar, while the dissenters made their way to Razor Hill. Malkaruk and his contingent were greeted at Orgrimmar's entrance by jubilant orcs chanting Garrosh's name. Garrosh then delivered a rousing speech about the Horde's past, present, and future dominion, culminating in a unified chant of death to the Alliance. While celebrations erupted in Orgrimmar, Malkaruk led Kor'kron forces to Razor Hill. There, he confronted Kelantur Bloodblade and Frandis Farley for speaking against Garrosh, casually murdering them with frag grenades after leaving. When the Alliance, led by King Varian Wrynn, launched an attack on Orgrimmar, Malkaruk swiftly joined his war chief in battle. The Horde-controlled Kraken initially repelled the Alliance fleet but were ultimately destroyed by Jaina Proudmoore's water elementals. Malkaruk witnessed Garrosh's rage as the Alliance escaped and reclaimed Northwatch. Upon learning that the Alliance intended to break the Horde blockade and rescue the captured port, Garrosh ordered Malkaruk to initiate a full retreat. After the Horde established Domination Point, War Chief Hellscream journeyed to the Shrine of Two Moons, soon joined by Malkaruk and a Kor'kron guard, as well as Lorthamar Theron and his presumed bodyguard, Alandra Palescorn. Malkaruk reported to Garrosh that the Tome of Pandaren history depicted the Mogu, former rulers of Pandaria, as cruel and relentless rulers who governed through fear rather than love. Garrosh, intrigued, remarked that he had much to learn from the Mogu. Malkaruk accompanied Garrosh on his final quest to find the Divine Bell, and was later seen with his Kor'kron forces when Garrosh used the Divine Bell at Emperor's Reach. Garrosh remained relentless in his pursuit of Pandaren artifacts, dispatching an excavation force to unearth a mysterious relic. When Grizzle Gearslip and his team succeeded in locating the artifact, Malkaruk and his Kor'kron forces promptly arrived on the scene. Malkaruk ordered the goblin to step aside, declaring that they had found exactly what Garrosh had hoped for in the Vale. When Grizzle demanded the promised payment, he was taken aback to receive only a fraction of the expected amount. Malkaruk coldly explained that the payment accounted for the workers who were still alive. The Warchief did not compensate the dead. Grizzle attempted to remind Malkaruk of their contract and its stipulations, insisting on proper payment. Malkaruk, losing patience, grabbed Grizzle by the neck and yelled that dying in the service of the Horde should be considered a great honor. He accused Grizzle of using the dead as a means to make more money, thus disgracing the honorable deaths of his workers. After releasing Grizzle, the goblin mumbled a veiled threat about Garrosh's loyalty, but quickly distracted Malkaruk with flattery and fled before his treasonous comment fully registered. Malkaruk and his Kor'kron then secured the chamber containing the mysterious artifact and a Titan-made watcher named Mogu'shan, ensuring that Garrosh's prize was safely in their hands. Throughout the Pandaria campaign, Malkaruk stood as Garrosh's most loyal and trusted lieutenant. When the Warchief sought a volunteer to be infused with the power of Y'Shaarj, Malkaruk stepped forward without a moment's hesitation. During the Siege of Orgrimmar, Malkaruk took up residence within the Underhold. After General Nazgrim fell in the battle above ground, Malkaruk assumed command of the defense of Garrosh's compound. Determined to hold the line, he fought fiercely but ultimately met his end in the ensuing battle, his unwavering loyalty to Garrosh carrying him to his final breath. When the Isle of Giants was discovered off the coast of Pandaria, brimming with primal devil sores, Garrosh seized the opportunity to capture some of the fiercest specimens. He envisioned these mighty beasts as future weapons of war. However, countless orcish beastmasters met their end in Thok's jaws, struggling to trap and cage the relentless creature. Despite their efforts, Thok's insatiable thirst for blood remained unquenched, making him a fearsome challenge for even the most seasoned handlers. Helix Blackfuse was the sole goblin whose engineering brilliance, professionalism, and ruthlessness met Garrosh's exacting standards for the true Horde's chief engineer. Blackfuse's passion for his mechanical creations and the gold they brought him irreversibly entwined his fate with that of his patron and Warchief. Paragons are preserved within empowered amber shells, meticulously crafted by a chosen ambersmith. Once the Paragon is put to sleep, the Ambersmith is immediately killed to ensure the Paragon's location remains a secret. It takes the combined power of the entire Calaxy Council to locate these Paragons, preventing outsiders or lone Calaxiva from discovering them. Encased in amber, Paragons remain in stasis until their help is needed, capable of awakening after thousands of years without incident. However, the Amber's power is finite, and if not released before it depletes, the Paragon risks death. The process of being put to sleep in amber is excruciating, akin to dying. Awakening is equally painful, leaving the Paragon weak and in desperate need of nourishment. Among the Mantid, it is speculated that reviving a Paragon is similar to an empress bringing her swarmborn into the world. Awakened Paragons feel a special bond with their Wakener, and can instinctively recognize the one who woke them up. This process and the equipment for it were invented by the first Paragon, Corvin the Prime. Becoming a Paragon grants the right to ask questions and expect answers. Paragons possess a deep understanding of the cycle and the swarm, far surpassing that of other Mantid. They exhibit a less respectful attitude towards the current Empress and are acutely aware of their true purpose, not just to serve the Empress, but to preserve the cycle through the Calaxy. Upon arriving in the Dread Wastes, the player stumbles upon the Paragon Kilruk the Windreaver and awakens him. Kilruk then introduced the player to the Calaxy Council, who grants permission for the player to continue awakening other Paragons to bolster their forces. These awakened Paragons become daily quest givers, thus unlocking more quests as the player revives them. With the discovery of the Heart of Y'Shaarj by Garrosh Hellscream, the Calaxy allied themselves with the Warchief and his Kor'kron. The Paragons were assigned their own chamber within the Underhold, poised to defend Garrosh's inner sanctum, where the revived heart had been relocated. In a twist of fate, the same adventurer who had once allied with the Calaxi in Pandaria eventually defeated the Paragons in the battle against Garrosh. After Grand Empress Shek'Zara pledged her people to the old god N'Zoth, she initiated a new swarm with the intent to conquer Pandaria in his name. The Calaxi, sensing the presence of a Paragon near the Serpent's Spine at the Five Sisters in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, decided to awaken them. 4 Calaxi Wakeners undertook the mission, but they were intercepted and killed by adventurers opposing the swarm. The intervention led to the untimely death of the Paragon as well, thwarting the Calaxi's plan to bolster their ranks for Shek'Zara's quest. Garrosh Hellscream, once chosen by Thrall to succeed him as war chief of the Horde following the Cataclysm, became one of the most notorious figures in Azeroth's history. His rule ended with Siege of Orgrimmar, after which Vol'jin took his place. Garrosh grew up on Draenor, living in the shadow of his father, Garrosh Hellscream, the legendary warrior and leader of the Warsong clan. Grom was the first orc to drink the blood of Manaroth, binding the orcs to the Legion's will. Before this event, Garrosh and several other orcs had been quarantined in Nagrand due to the Red Pox, sparing them from the demonic corruption. For many years, Garrosh felt deep shame about his father's actions. This changed when he met Thrall during the invasion of Outland and learned of Grom's heroic redemption. Embracing his potential as a powerful leader, Garrosh proved his mettle in Northrend, where he led the Horde's advance through the Borean tundra and won the hearts of his people. Uncompromising and fiercely proud, Garrosh was determined to restore the Orcs' glory by any means necessary. As the renewed Alliance-Horde war escalated, Garrosh's insatiable thirst for power led him down a path of corruption. His obsession with Orcish supremacy and his desire to become the world's supreme ruler blinded him to the consequences of his actions. In his pursuit of dominance, he resurrected the heart of a dead old god, using the pools of power, unleashing its full force and devastating half of the sacred Vale of Eternal Blossoms in Pandaria. His reign of terror ended when he was defeated, stripped of his power, and captured by a coalition beneath Orgrimmar. Although he was slated to be tried as a war criminal in Pandaria, Garrosh managed to escape to an alternate Draenor thanks to Kairos, his loyalists, and the aid of the infinite dragonflight. In this alternate Draenor, Garrosh confronted Gul'dan and witnessed his transformation into one of the first Green Orcs, corrupted by fell powers. Manipulating events, Garrosh began to alter the timeline, laying the groundwork for the rise of the Iron Horde, and thus reshaping the destiny of Azeroth once more. In Warlords of Draenor, Garrosh set grand plans into motion, utilizing his connections with the Blackfuse Company, which had supplied him during the Siege of Orgrimmar. He equipped the Orcish clans of Draenor with advanced technology necessary to construct formidable war machines. He also persuaded the alternate Garrosh Hellscream to unite all Orcish clans under one banner and reject the blood of Manaroth. Garrosh devised a scheme to create a gateway between the alternate timeline and the main one, aiming to exact his vengeance on Azeroth. This plan materialized as the Iron Horde's dark portal within Tanan Jungle, powered by the leaders of the Shadow Council. Garrosh then unleashed the Iron Horde to conquer the world, and tasked Warlord Zayla with arming the Iron Star within Blackrock Mountain to annihilate Stormwind City. He later assumed the role of warlord of the Warsong clan in Nagrand, where he was ultimately defeated and killed by Thrall in Amat Kara. Garrosh's soul was condemned to the realm of Revendreth, and subsequently the Maw for his sins. Despite this, he remained unrepentant till the end, choosing to destroy himself rather than submit. And that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you did enjoy. Now with Garrosh, that is a very summed up history of him, but I'm going to do his full history soon, but I wanted to actually get this video finished. So I'll be working on Garrosh next and getting that out, but I just wanted to make sure that I included him. And so yeah, expect a full history on Garrosh in the future, and then when I do the supercut of Pandaria, I'll be putting Garrosh's full history in place of the shorter one here. And that's gonna do it. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one. You're doing great.